Hey there. Today we're going to do a little bit of a flow as an introduction to the seven different chakra systems. Today we're going to kind of hit on each one and just give a little bit of an intro for some classes that I'm going to be offering later, where we're actually really dive really deeply into each chakra. So today, just to give you kind of an overview and let you settle into some asanas that are really good for each one, get a little bit of information just to see if you enjoy it and if it's something that kind of speaks to you. So the chakras were first kind of developed, or we've seen the first literature about it anywhere from like 1500 to 500 BC, and they were found in these texts called the Vedas. They're part of Tantric yoga. They're also a part of um, a deeper system of just different flows of energy. We here in the West are super familiar with seven of them that kind of run along the center column. However, there were numerous different chakras. They were used in Hinduism as kind of a meditation, a prayer, focusing on different chakras to while praying for different gods. As they are now, what we know in the West, the chakra system isn't tied to any one religion or any one certain practice. They're kind of pulled and used in different areas. A lot of different cultures have also used chakra systems, energy lines, um, similar to these. Um, the seven chakras that are lined up, chakra in Sanskrit is actually a wheel. So you may have seen like the rainbow colored dots along the human. And if you can think of those as spinning energies, like spinning wheels of energy that keeps energy flowing up and down and all the way through. So before they kind of reached the West, which they did in a text around 1918, is kind of when that chakra system reached um, the Western hemisphere. Before, they weren't necessarily linked to a lot of psychological traits. They definitely weren't linked to oils as well as endocrine glands and then nerve plexuses along the spinal cord. That's something that was kind of linked once that system hit the West. And um, and then it's just kind of morphed and changed from there. And so some people kind of say that that little bit of purity is lost, but this is the way I kind of I was not sure about chakras. I wasn't sure how they worked. I didn't really resonate with them for a long time. I didn't. Um, I, I guess it's like I couldn't feel it. But then, as I started to be a little bit more open to it, drawn to it, hearing more things, I realized that the integrated approach to evaluating where you're at in your body was something that I really enjoyed. The notion that there was this connectedness, and that by bringing your focus almost to each separate part of you allowed you to feel as if there was a wholeness that was already there, but also maybe, okay, maybe this part I could use a little bit of work in. And then also, while working in the chakra system, there's so many tools, there's so many things that are used within the chakra system. There's essential oils, there's sound, there's colors, asanas, there's gems, there's foods. I think I said essential oils. And I was really drawn to the fact that whatever I was feeling that could bring me most into that present space. So maybe one day, um, it was a rose quartz, and it was holding it and it was focusing on that rose quartz. It was focusing on my heart, and it just allowed me to a different way to center, a different way to become really present, a different way to find a connection to that part of me, or that part that maybe wasn't feeling great. Um, and so that's why I enjoy working with the chakra system. I think a lot of people think that it's a religion and that, uh, or it's voodoo, it's something really weird. But I hope you'll see that it's just a way to integrate, to become present. And there's so many different tools that we have available in order to feel that alignment and to use the chakra system, to use those seven different chakras as a map and a guide to kind of slowly bring yourself into this awareness, into presence. So we'll start it's a really gentle sequence today. So if you happen to have a bolster, those are really great, although I know they're not something that everybody has. If you don't have a bolster, what you can do is take some beach towels or some blankets and kind of fold them up so they would be the general shape, and then stack a couple, maybe two or three, and then wrap them around with another blanket. I used to do that for a long time before I had a bolster. Or you can also kind of grab a maybe a sofa cushion. If you have one, those tend to be a little bit sturdier. Today we're going to start in a reclined butterfly position. So we're going to kind of make a little bit of a recliner here with some blocks. Again, you can always use books, or you could just come down completely onto the floor. That's perfectly okay. So stacking the blocks to kind of make a little bit of a slope. I also like to put a towel or a blanket kind of near the edge to make that slope up just a little bit easier. It's not quite as intense. Then bringing your seat just to the edge of that, and then feel free to lean back, bringing those arms out to the side. And we're going to come into a bit of a butterfly position if that feels okay on your hips. Sometimes this can feel really intense. So bringing the soles of the feet together, letting those knees kind of open up wide. If you do feel too much intensity in that hip socket, feel free to put either blocks or blankets underneath your hip. If that still is a little too much, sometimes those hips just don't feel like widening. Feel free to extend the legs all the way down the mat, or you can just extend one leg first, keeping one leg bent, and I can let you know when we're about halfway through. So just finding whatever position feels best for you today, allowing your body to soften in, feeling those palms turning up towards the ceiling, gently closing your eyes, and allowing yourself to be drawn into the body with the breath. Starting to feel the base of your sits bones, a connection to the earth. And from here is where we'll start with the first chakra. It's our root chakra, Muladhara. It's located at the very base of the spine and at the perineum. It's usually represented by the color red, and its element is earth. Since Muladhara is about grounding, is about safety and security. So begin to feel that connection as your inhale starts to deepen. Visualize roots, roots at the base. Take a full inhale as if you are drawing your inhale up from the earth, up through your roots. And as you exhale, exhale from your root chakra, from Muladhara, down deeply into the earth. That inhale feels that centering, that grounding motion. Each point that's connected to earth, allow it to exhale. You're growing those roots further, deeper down. When our root chakra is in balance, we feel that we can trust the flow of life. We feel grounded. We feel stable. When Muladhara is feeling blocked, we become fearful, not trusting. We don't think our basic needs are being met. So if you have one leg out, go ahead and change out the legs. On that inhale, imagine that red glowing light emanating from that very base, your very root. And on the exhale, exhale, that light softens and moves into a deeper part, maybe up your spinal column, maybe into your shoulders. Allowing each exhale to soften you, yet feel that steady firmness. You're rooting into the earth. On your next exhale, bring both soles of the feet towards the mat, about mat width apart, and then just allow those knees to gently drift in on each other. Feeling now the base of the spine, the soles of the feet connected, grounding down. On your next exhale, allow yourself to just slowly press up and come into a seated position. If you wanted to move your tower aside, and then in your seated position, it might feel good to sit on the edge of kind of a rolled up towel or blanket. So once again, you allow a little bit of space in the hips. Again, if this is a lot on those hip flexors, feel free to bring some blocks or a blanket just underneath the hips to kind of raise them up a little bit. So taking a moment to feel grounding down. So maybe rocking back and forth, feeling those sits bones connected. Taking the fingers down to the earth, and then we'll inhale. So feel as if you could almost press down into your seat and then draw up the pelvic floor so that way the chest and arms float up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, allow the left hand to float down to the mat. Right arm drifting over to open up that right side body. Once again, feel that rooting down from the sits bones, and then inhale, reaching those arms up. So feeling nice and grounded on the bottom and as if the top could float away. As you exhale, bring that right hand down to the ground, left hand floats over. Inhale, feel that rooting down, chest lifts. Exhale, opening up the side body. Inhale once again. That chest just floats up as the lower half becomes heavy and rooted and grounded into the earth. Inhale. Exhale, slowly bring those hands down, bringing the hands on the top of the knees. This time, really kind of starting to feel some mobility in the hips, but a groundedness in that lower half as you allow that torso to inhale, sweeping forward, opening that chest, feeling nice and grounded on the bottom. And then as you exhale, using those hands kind of like a lever to pull and hold you back. Exhale it all out. Inhale, sweeping up. Feeling that connection. Maybe still feel visualizing those roots connecting you down to the core of the earth. But that connection is drawing up energy. It's not a withholding, it's not a keeping you still. It's just centering and grounding. So if you could think of that upper body can float and wave easily because the grounded nature of the legs. One more nice big inhale up. Exhale. Then we'll go ahead and extend that right leg down the length of the mat, bringing that left sole of the foot rather close and just taking a moment here, feeling that stretch, giving a nice flex in that right leg, feeling a little bit of opening in that back of the heel. And then we'll go ahead and cross that left leg over, and then either grabbing hold of that left knee as we draw up from the pelvic floor, really feeling those sits bones rooted down, but drawing up the front body, up that lumbar spine, navel, belly buttons going in, back, and up, so chest lifts. Or maybe you can wrap that arm around. Take the left hand behind you as you inhale up, and then exhale, twisting from the belly, then the ribs, then the shoulders. And then if it feels okay, and if it feels like a natural thing to do to keep going, take that gaze over the left shoulder, always listening to where that neck, that stretch is taking you. Take another inhale, growing nice and long. So a lot of the essential oils here for Muladhara have a really earthy, grounding nature. So as you exhale, slowly come back to center, bringing that left leg out, and then just taking a moment to squeeze. So if you do like essential oils, it could be things like vetiver or a cedar wood, a patchouli, things that are really earthy and grounding. So now extending that left leg, flexing in that foot, bringing that right so that heel is really close to your seat to give a little compression in the knee, starting to open up a little bit of that Achilles so you can kind of lean into it if that feels okay. If that's a big stress on the knee joint, keeping that foot a little bit more forward is perfectly fine. Feeling that pressing down in the sole of that right foot as it almost keeps those sits bones pressing down but draws that pelvic floor up. So really think of that length, continuing that length. This left leg is nice and activated. Bringing that right foot, crossing it over, still keeping that length that we did when we pressed down, either taking hold the right hand with the right knee with the left hand, or maybe wrapping that around. Again, inhale, lengthening here through the spine. Bring that right hand behind you. I think I told you to grab with the wrong one. Inhale, keeping that length in the spine as you exhale, twisting to the right from your belly, then your rib cage, then your shoulders. And if it's feeling okay on your spine, taking your gaze over that right shoulder, continuing the twist, feeling it in the cervical spine. Inhale, lengthening here. Drawing up from the pelvic floor. This time as you exhale, slowly unwind. This time we're going to come down to the mat, removing anything that you have underneath you, bringing soles of the feet to the mat, feeling that sits bone still nice and grounded. And now we're moving just up into that sacral chakra. So if we want to take a moment to pause, we were just at Muladhara, the very base of the spine, connected and grounded. Now we're moving up. So it's just below the navel in that sacral area, so kind of in between your hip points. It's usually represented by the color orange, and the element is water. Svadhisthana is known to be fluid and creative. So we're also going to talk a little bit later on in the series, and we'll briefly touch on it right now, about bandhas or locks. So a lot of times we want this energy to move, but we have these bandhas because we don't want the energy just spilling out. So if you can for a moment, we'll just bring one foot in front of the other, just sitting easily, allowing those shoulders to gently drift down the back. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. Closing your eyes. On your next exhale, think as if you could, it's sort of like those pelvic floor exercises, like a Kegel exercise where you're just stopping, you're drawing in from the pelvic floor as if in between those hip points. So our hips kind of make a diamond, and then just allow that exhale to keep drawing up. So as if you were pulling up, like drawing up from your hip points from underneath, from your very base of your roots, and allowing that to just keep drawing up through the crown of the head. As you inhale, maintain that drawing up. As you exhale, feel another release, letting go. Almost as if that energy could just flow out that root chakra. Take another inhale, filling up the lungs, filling up the belly. As you exhale, drawing up everything. So pulling up from that pelvic floor, feeling that kind of creating that, not a ton of tension, just a little bit of a lift and a lock. As you continue that feeling, then bring soles of the feet to the mat. That crown of the head is lengthened. There's still that Uddiyana Bandha, we call it. So that pulling up from the pelvic floor lengthens you from the crown of the head. So you're still drawing that low belly. So belly button from the pelvic floor is drawing in, backwards, and up. So it's not just drawing straight towards the back of the spine, it's drawing back towards the spine, inwards, and upwards. So from here, we're lifted, and we're just going to gently kind of sink back as if to be starting boat. So you can take your hands behind your thighs here, leaning back. And if it feels okay, just to start to lift in those legs. So now we're really kind of activating this Svadhisthana, which is about our passion, our purpose. It's about our emotions and our creativity. So still drawing those knees. And if you wanted to bring them down, bring them up, just taking a moment, working here in a little bit of boat pose, starting to activate right from that Svadhisthana, right from that sacral. And maybe you're just lifting one toe, lifting the other. Or maybe it feels good to just take a little bit of a break, opening those knees, taking an inhale. And as you exhale, kind of feel that release. Exhale, release that bandha, release that hold. Take another inhale. As you exhale, drawing up, really pulling up from the pelvic floor, up through the low belly, and then releasing back and feeling maybe that strength re-engage. When that sacral area, that sacral chakra is in flow, we're really feeling a pleasure, a fluidity, confidence in our purpose. When we're not feeling in flow, there's an instability, maybe a questioning in our sexuality, a difficulty with relationships, and then release those legs down Release that lock and just soften for a moment. And then we're going to come to our knees. So we're going to take, if you have a particularly hard floor or some healing in the knees, you can come on the tops of the toes or untucking the toes and kind of opening up that back of the foot. A lot of times when we work with chakras, we'll work with mudras, which are just more lines of energy. So we'll go into deeper with those too. But now we're going to come into the Dhyana Mudra. So keep your hands in your lap. Your left hand comes down, right hand comes on top, thumbs touch. So almost pressing in right into that Svadhisthana, right into that sacral chakra area. Take a nice inhale, exhale, feel those shoulders soften away, and just draw your attention to that sacral area, drawing in that in breath, maybe a deep orange light that glows right behind where your hands are. And exhale, feel that softening and fluidity. Oftentimes, too, when working with chakras, we have mantras to kind of bring that presencing, bring that mind back into that energy. So some mantras for the sacral chakra: I feel, I create, I am creative, I go with the flow. So then we can release down, coming into a bit of a table, and then we'll just tap out those feet. From here, we'll move to the next chakra, the solar plexus. So it's about 2 inches above your navel. So we'll just take a moment here to locate it. So it's a little bit above that navel, kind of right in that middle, underneath that rib cage area. Our solar plexus or manipura, it's usually denoted by the color yellow. The element is fire. And from here is where that personal power, that self-worth is drawn from. So if you think of that center core right here of your being, so bringing both hands down the mat, maybe walking them a little bit more forward, fanning out your fingertips. We're going to tuck those toes under, press your mat forward, coming into our first downward dog. So fingertips are fanned out nice and wide, toes can be fanned out nice and wide, pressing the mat away with the hands and feeling those shoulder blades softening down your back. Knees can start to straighten as those heels start to soften towards the mat. They do not need to touch the mat. Feel that broadening back, so as if you could open up those thigh bones to kind of widen your seat towards the back of the room. Taking a moment here, just bending into each knee, kind of getting the body nice and warm. Manipura is about this heat, and when we're out of balance, it can challenge our self-esteem and we become sensitive to criticism. And oftentimes when we work with Manipura, we're kind of building up this fire, this intensity. So on your next inhale, you can take a bend in those knees and those arms. Whenever you're floating that leg up, feel free to kind of bend into everything first. Inhale that right leg up. As we exhale, we're going to come up high on those left toes, drawing that right knee in towards the chest like a little ball. Inhale, sending that right leg up high again. Exhale, coming forward, bringing that knee into chest. Inhale, sending that right leg up high. Exhale, coming high up on those tippy toes, bringing those knees into chest. One more of those, feeling that fire right in that center core of our being. Then bring that right foot back down to the mat. So when we feel that alignment, we feel that inner peace, we feel self-worth, balance. Inhale, rising up that left leg. Now you can bend into everything and then rise up. Inhale, and then as you exhale, high up on those right toes, bring that left knee in towards the chest like a little ball squeeze. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, high up on those toes, squeezing. Inhale, last one, high up here. And then as you exhale, squeezing like a little ball. Planting those left foot back, pressing the mat away. Then looking forward towards your hands, take a nice deep bend in the knees. Coming forward on your mat. Fanning out those toes and spreading them down. Keeping a nice deep bend in the knees as the low belly, upper rib cage comes to the top of the thighs. Forward fold. Just taking a moment here to release the low back. On your next inhale, bring hands to shins and extend through the crown of the head as you lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. We'll go through a couple of salutations to kind of warm up and then feeling a little bit more of that heat in that Manipura. So inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, forward fold, nice bent knees. Inhale, lengthening here through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up. So maybe some mantras here. Exhale, forward fold is I am worthy. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale. Or maybe it is a inhale, lengthen, I have confidence. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. And then bringing index finger to, middle finger to thumb as just another mudra, arms by your side. Allow those shoulders to soften down. Bringing that attention right into that solar plexus. So as if you can draw in kind of a glowing yellow light and feeling that yellow light as a heat radiating outward into your limbs, into your throat, up into your head, just radiating and moving, pulsing through your whole body. And then we'll start to shift. So now bringing both hands over right in that center of the chest area. So now we're going to come to the heart chakra. So it's Anahata. It's the center of your chest. It's usually the color green is used to signify this chakra. The element is air. And so from here, the first three chakras were more of physical, more of grounding, more earthly. When we start to move into the last three chakras, they're heavenly, they're spiritual. So this heart center, this Anahata chakra, is a blending, a coming together of the physical and the spiritual. So it's that connection, that our physicality with our spirituality right at that heart center. So now we're just going to take a step back, making sure that we're not on a tightrope, but yet our feet are more on train tracks, keeping a bend in that back leg first so that we can come into this crescent with some really nice alignment. So feeling free to keep those hips forward, but as we draw up, we're going to draw up from that pelvic floor, up from the belly, and then continue to rise up, feeling that stacking, that lengthen, and feeling kind of more stable in the pelvis. So we're not leaning forward into this crescent, but we're drawing up, lifting here, and then if it feels okay to maybe straighten into that back leg, only as much as you're not pressing into those hips and low back, lifting up here. On your next inhale, inhale cactus, those arms puffing up that chest, lifting forward. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to come forward. So maybe bringing hands to blocks, if that kind of creates a little bit more space rather than kind of dumping all the way to the floor. So still lots of energy in that back end of the foot, still drawing up, lengthening through the spine. As we inhale, we're going to rotate, keeping that left hand down, opening up the chest. Exhale, float that right hand down. Take another inhale here to lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, bringing that left foot to meet the right, forward fold. On your next inhale, lengthening here through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, bringing those hands right to that anahata. So the thumbs are coming directly back towards that heart chakra. And then we're going to take an inhale, bringing that right foot down the length of the mat, making sure that we're on train tracks. Again, keeping a nice deep bend in that back leg as we draw up from the pelvic floor, raising those arms up, and then maybe beginning to straighten in that back leg. On our next inhale, cactusing the arms, maybe puffing that chest up towards the sky. As you exhale, bring both hands down. Bring them to blocks or the floor, but blocks kind of create this really nice space. Inhale, waving that spine nice and long. Still drawing up from the pelvic floor, so we're feeling nice and grounded and even in both legs. Inhale, sweep that left arm up, that right arm stays grounded into the earth. Exhale, float that left hand down. Inhale here to grow nice and long through the spine. And as you exhale, bring that right foot down to meet the left. Nice bent knees, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. Just closing your eyes, taking a moment here. Maybe some mantras that we would use for Anahata are, I am love. I love. This time, taking those hands behind the back, clasping them so they're just sort of on top of that tailbone, but soften that tailbone down as you draw the shoulders away from the ears. On the next inhale, inhale, opening up that chest, opening up the heart space. As you exhale, take a nice deep bend in the knees. You can unclasp the hands and come into forward fold. So when that chakra, that heart chakra is out of kind of energy, feeling blocked, we can feel disconnected from ourselves, difficulty loving, difficulty forgiving. Here we're going to take a block and place it right underneath our face, We're going to take an inhale to lengthen here through the crown of the head, keeping that right hand pressing down into the block, taking a nice deep bend in the left knee, straightening into a nice deep bend in the right knee, straightening into the left, and inhale, sweeping that left arm up. As you exhale, draw that low belly in, coming up to like a twist. Then we're going to inhale, sweep that left arm, and maybe a little back bend if it feels okay on that back. As you exhale, forward fold. Feeling that low back release, nice deep bend in the knees. So when Anahata is in a good flow, we're able to cultivate joy, acceptance, forgiveness. Inhale again, lengthening through the crown of the head. Bending into that left leg, keeping that left hand down on the block. Inhale, sweep that right arm up. As you exhale, keep that arm up and you can twist, drawing up from the belly, twisting, opening to the right. Inhale, bringing that right arm up, maybe a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center, maybe bringing them over that heart chakra. Closing your eyes. The color of the heart chakra is green, so maybe as if you could sense a green light, a green glow just underneath your hands. So then as we move up, we come to the throat chakra, Vishuddha. It's just at the base of the throat, kind of in that notch in between the collarbones. And its color is more of a light blue. And its element is sound, since this is the place of our true authentic voice. It's where faith and understanding come together. So drawing that attention to that throat chakra. And then we're going to come forward, so bringing your feet a little wider than hip width apart, making sure that we have kind of a block. We'll bring it by our right foot to start out with. So we're going to turn our right foot towards the front of the mat, keeping that left foot parallel to the mat. As you turn, just allow that opening if it needs to be, so that that knee is making sure it's tracking over the toes. Softening of the tailbone though, so we're not arching here in the back, allowing the shoulders to stack over the hips, melt away from the ears. Ears are stacked over shoulders. On our next inhale, let those arms float up so they're kind of into a T while still softening those shoulders. As you exhale, feel that left hip start to kind of move towards the back of the room as you reach forward towards the right. And when that rib cage is no longer able to keep reaching, allow that right hand to come down onto a block or maybe the inside of that leg, and allow that left arm to stack on top of it. So there's this opening up here of the chest. That right hip is tucking under as that left hip is revolving open. There's lots of energy in the feet. So as if you could draw just behind your big toe on each foot towards your heel, you feel your arch of your foot lighting up. Take a nice inhale here to feel that spaciousness, even through the throat opening. So feeling from fingertip down the arm, across the chest and throat, even to the next fingertip. As you exhale, we're going to kind of spin a little bit forward and rotate on the ball of that back foot. And once again, take a bend in that knee. So you're feeling kind of this drawing up here as you pull up from that center all the way up, and then maybe straightening into the leg. Take a nice inhale up here. And as we exhale, we're going to bring those hands, we're going to raise up, bring those hands to fists right by your hip and say, ah. So inhale, lowering down as you exhale, coming from that throat. Inhale. Feeling that release from that Vishuddha throat chakra. Inhale, waving up. Exhale, and then bring that left foot to meet the right, coming into Tadasana, just opening the hands, feeling for a moment. Some mantras for this are: I speak truth, I am heard, my words are powerful. So then we'll come back towards feet nice and wide, a little wider than hip width, keeping that right foot parallel to the mat, then turning that left foot towards the front or back of the mat. Once again, just allow that hip, because if you keep that hip too square, you're rotating in and can potentially hurt that knee. So allow just those hips to be to where those knees are tracking over the toes. As you inhale, bringing those arms up, again, softening that tailbone, allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. As you exhale, allow that right hip to kind of kick towards the back of the room. As you're reaching forward with the left hand, left rib cage, then allow that left hand to come down onto a block or maybe your shin as you open up the right arm. So feeling those shoulders stack on top of each other, that left hip is coming underneath as that right hip opens up. Feeling that spaciousness in the chest from fingertip to fingertip. Take another deep inhale, and then as you exhale, rotating forward. So here, feeling that back knee can bend, just so you feel that sense of kind of equanimity and drawing up from the pelvic floor, up through that front of your spine. Draw those arms up, then maybe allowing that back leg to straighten. Take a nice inhale here to really draw on that breath. And then as we exhale, open up the tongue, forcing that breath out. Inhale, rising those arms up. Again, exhale, opening, sticking that tongue out. One more time. Inhale it up, drawing up from the pelvic floor. Exhale. And then we can come back towards the top of our mat. So when that throat chakra, so maybe placing those hands just at the base of the throat, closing those eyes, imagining that light blue at that base of the throat. And when we're feeling that energy moving through, we can have a voice, we can easily speak. On your next inhale, sweep those arms up. As you exhale, forward fold, nice deep bend in the knees. Inhale here, lengthening through the spine. This time as you exhale, we're just going to start bending in those knees. Nice and slow, maybe allowing those heels to come up. And then transitioning those legs back. So if you need something underneath your knees, feel free to do so. Widening those knees out, bringing those toes together. Then we're going to bring those hands in front, coming into prayer, and allow your forehead to rest onto the bridge of your thumbs. Which brings us to our third eye, Anje chakra. So it's the center of your eyebrows. Its color is represented by more of an indigo blue. Its element is light. And the chakra is about our inner knowledge, allowing that inner knowledge to guide you. It's your intuitive self. So maybe feeling that inhale, drawing in either just light itself, or maybe it's a indigo blue color. And as you exhale, allowing that light or that color to just permeate. Taking one more breath here, and then we'll bring those hands a little bit more forward, starting to come forward into a bit more of a table. So we're going to do a little bit of a child's flow here. So take a nice inhale to lengthen through the spine, drawing that low belly in, back and up. As you exhale, exhale briefly, coming into a little bit of a child's pose. As you inhale, inhale, drawing and rounding forward nice and slow. As you exhale, see if you can't just allow those hips to drop slightly, shoulders to melt, and then bringing that chin up just slightly. So here, really drawing in the core. So think belly button to pubic bone to belly button to allow that back, a softening in that back. I'm sorry, I forgot we were exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, coming back, exhale all the way into child's pose. We'll flow that out a little better. So we're going to inhale, rounding forward like a cat. Exhale, kind of allow that chest to open, but drawing that tailbone, softening that inhale, opening up the throat. As you exhale, draw that low belly towards the spine, back into child's. Inhale, rounding forward. Exhale, feel that opening in the chest. It's kind of like an upward dog. Take an inhale, lifting the heart. As you exhale, draw that navel towards your spine, rounding backwards. And then we'll just sort of land here on our heels. So when that third eye is a little bit more open, we're feeling that intuition, that gut feeling. Inhale, bringing those arms out to a T. As you exhale, crossing that right hand underneath and then wrapping them around. So maybe even just the backs of the hands are coming together, or continuing that wrap into eagle arms, or just bringing those arms together like prayer if that's a lot on the shoulders. And then allowing those thumbs to come directly to that third eye. From here, feel those shoulders softening away from the ears. Take a nice deep inhale, filling up that back body, feeling spacious in between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, drawing that low belly in and kind of rounding forward. Taking one more breath as you're rounding forward, allowing the space between the shoulder blades to really fill up. And as you exhale, rounding forward just a little bit more. The next inhale, unfurling those arms, cactusing, lifting the chest. This time as you exhale, that left hand comes under, back of the hands can come together, or continue that wrap so the palms are coming together, or once again, just keeping those elbows in, pressing those thumbs towards Anjay Mudra, or Anjay Chakra, sorry. Softly bringing those shoulders away from the ears. Take a nice deep inhale, filling up that back body. And as you exhale, that low belly comes to the spine and you feel the opening between the shoulder blades. Inhale, drawing all that breath in. Exhale, softening down. Inhale, opening up the chest. Then exhale, we're going to bring the hands just on top of the thighs. We're going to come into that Gayana Mudra, so index finger to thumb. So moving to that last chakra, so the crown chakra located at the very top of the head. This is our highest purpose, our connection to divine. So it's often represented actually by 3 different colors. Sometimes you see it as purple, sometimes you see it as gold, or just a bright white light. This is our connection to source, whatever that is to you, universe, divine, God. It's a self, it's a higher unity with all. So just closing your eyes, drawing that attention and awareness to that crown chakra, as if you could feel that light drifting in through the crown chakra. And then we're going to come to the top of our knees. So this pose here, we can do it a couple of ways. We can so we're going to come into rabbit. So coming to the top of the knees, feeling that tailbone softening down, shoulders drifting away from the ears. Take an inhale here to lengthen through the crown of the head. As you exhale, as if you could just roll down your entire front body and imagine that crown chakra just coming to the top of the mat very gently. So the crown chakra is just resting on the mat. We're reaching back, taking hold of our heels as we inhale, filling up that back body and drawing that navel towards the spine. As you exhale, feel that stretch in that upper back. We're just barely on our head here. We're just more lifting, like the tailbone is lifting up, but it's not dumping into the head. It's like everything is lifting up. If that really feels uncomfortable, if you can't seem to find that where we're not pressing into the top of the head, you can also bring blocks down. So your shoulders are going to sort of rest on these blocks so the top of the head can come down. Shoulders are resting. And so we're just barely feeling that head. Shoulders are coming to that block. And then you're feeling that drawing up from the navel upwards, starting to get a little bit more of a feel for that. Take an inhale into that opening in the back. Exhale, lifting that belly even higher. Exhale, we're just going to release now. Coming back up, feeling that kind of nice rush of blood. And then we're going to come all the way down the length of the mat to sort of reset our spine before our final meditation. So lengthening down the mat. So when our crown chakra is feeling energized, let's draw that right knee into the chest, giving it a little squeeze, bringing that right hand out, and then gently guiding that left knee over, keeping that right shoulder blade softening down. We feel a connectedness to our higher power. We feel that balance of spirituality and self, a connectedness and a unity with creation. Exhale, bring that right knee back in towards the chest. Give that knee another squeeze, and then we'll switch that out. Extend that right leg down the length of the mat, bringing that left knee in towards the chest. Take that left arm out like a wing. Gently guide that left knee over to the right as the left shoulder blade stays grounded to the mat. Just resetting our spine here. Take a nice inhale. Exhale out of an open mouth to soften and release. On your next exhale, draw that left knee back into the chest. Bring that right knee in to meet it, giving that one more squeeze. And then we're going to come into a super comfortable resting space as we come into a final meditation to sort of blend and align these chakras. So finding whichever space works best for you, a nice savasana, allowing those feet to fall open, arms to come out away from the body, palms up. If it feels more comfortable to have a rolled up blanket placed underneath the knees, or maybe you'd like to roll the bottom edge of just the bottom edge of your blanket and placing that so underneath the natural curve of your neck. That way your neck is not tipping too far back or crunching too far forward. Allowing yourself to get really comfortable right now. Allowing those eyes to softly close. Seeing if there's anything you can do in this space to just get a little bit more comfortable, and then just allow your body to soften into where you're at. Becoming completely and totally relaxed. On your next exhale, exhale out of an open mouth to release. And now start to bring awareness to your body, to your breathing, to your breath. On your next inhale, feel as though you're inhaling that breath, entering through the soles of your feet on your inhale. As you exhale, begin to direct this breath to your lower abdomen, that sacral chakra. In Hebrew, it's called the batan, the shelter of your innermost being. So picture the inhale through the soles of your feet as if you were gathering up drops of water. And on the exhale is moving them all together to create a pool in your batan, as if your pelvis were a giant bowl to hold all of this water. Inhale the soles of your feet, gathering up the water. Exhale, placing it into that pelvic bowl. Now, on your next inhale, visualize the inhale entering through the crown of your head, drawing the breath down from heaven. And on the exhale, gathering up the breath like drops of water together into your heart space, filling up that heart space. Inhale, drawing down from heaven through the crown of your head. That exhale, gathering it all up and holding it in that heart space. On your next inhale, you're only going to inhale halfway in, inhaling through the crown of your head to your heart space and pausing there. As you finish your inhale, guiding the breath from your heart to your batan, then pausing at the very top of the inhale before you exhale. As you begin your exhale, pausing halfway, you're taking that breath from the batan back up to that heart space and pausing. Mixing that exhale from the heart space, then slowly releasing all through the crown of your head, pausing at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale halfway from the crown of your head to your heart, pause. Guiding the rest of the inhale from the heart to your batan, pausing at the top. Exhale halfway from the batan to your heart, pause. Releasing your entire exhale from the heart to the crown of your head. The next inhale, you're going to take in the fullest and deepest breath simultaneously from heaven and earth, soles of the feet, crown of the head, blending these together at your heart space, the very top of your inhale. As you exhale, drawing every last drop and guiding it all into your batan, the shelter of your innermost being, and leaving it there. Now let go. Let go of the directing of breath and just sense and feel an ease and a flow all the way from the crown of your head to the center of your eyes, to the base of your throat, to your heart space, to the center of your solar plexus, to that sacral area and to the very root, the very end of your spine, as if you could feel a flow and ease of energy flowing up and down. Then begin to make some smaller movements in the fingers and the toes, starting to wake up the body a little bit, allowing those movements to become larger circles in the wrists and the ankles. On your next inhale, drawing both arms overhead, feeling that nice stretch. And as you exhale, draw the knees into the chest. Begin to make some movements back and forth, kind of massaging out that spine. Maybe finding a side that feels best to roll onto. And then gently rolling onto that side, arm overhead, the cheek resting on bicep, knees into like a fetal position, and just pausing for a moment there. Taking a nice full inhale. Exhale to soften. And then as you're ready, pressing yourself up to seated. Once again, feeling that grounding down of the sits bones, feeling those shoulders softening down and coming over your hips, ears over shoulders. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, allow the shoulder blades to release and relax. And I thank you for taking the time to just kind of visit and be present with yourself. And just know too that that these are a fluid in nature and personable. So maybe if a color doesn't resonate to you, that's okay. Just taking that time to bring your awareness in, bring your attention to self, to different spaces of ourself, and allowing your body to feel what it connects to most, whether it be the color or there's even sounds that we'll go into at greater depth later. But just know that these can be personable, that these can be movable and fluid to with what you connect with the most. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you took a moment to just allow yourself to realign and to relax and to center and to be present. And I hope you'll continue this journey of the chakras with me. I will keep updating more ways on how you can attend and enjoy learning more. So I thank you so much, and I hope you have a peaceful and wonderful day.